Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
Baseball fans, this is Byram Stamm with Joe Gargiulo welcoming you to the 1965 World Series of Baseball from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. This series is brought to you by
Chrysler Corporation, makers of the new 1966 Plymouth, Dodge, Chrysler, Imperial, and Dodge trucks, all quality engineered by Chrysler Corporation. Today's host, Dodge, and your local Dodge dealer. And by Gillette, makers of the incomparable Gillette stainless steel blade, #1 in sales by far, and the slim adjustable razor, foamy shaving cream, Right Guard deodorant, Sun Up aftershave, and new Heads Up hair grooming for men.
It's time for Game 2 of the World Series, but the big factor in Minnesota at the moment is the weather. Ever since we left Metropolitan Stadium yesterday, we've had rain. It was supposed to stop around noontime, and it did let up for a while. The field was cleared pretty well, but we have showers coming down again, and the field has been covered once again. Joe and I were down in the dugouts a little bit ago, and I'm sure that Commissioner of Baseball, Mr. Ford Frick, wants in every way to try to get this game underway. And it appears now there will be a delay, although I notice Sandy Koufax, who is slated to pitch today, has gone to the bullpen and is now warming up. So rain has been a big factor. First of all, they've had helicopters out here hovering over the field to try and dry it out. The infield is in pretty good shape, and if it doesn't rain very much more, I'm sure that we will get it underway. But at the moment, the field is covered. Today, the big news, of course, can the Dodgers bounce back? They were defeated here 8-2 yesterday. There were a couple of heroes, the pitching of Jim Grant, and the fine running and hitting and defensive play of Zoilo Versalles. Today, the #1 pitcher in baseball, Sandy Koufax, is slated to go, and his mound opponent will be also a slender left-hander by the name of Jim Lefebvre. We'll be going into the lineups and other pregame activity in just a moment. This program is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express consent of the Commissioner is prohibited. Any commercial or other use of the program, such as by charging admission or its showing, is similarly prohibited unless authorized in writing by the Commissioner. Most of the Minnesotans coming to this park today realized that rain was in the air. However, the weather forecast during the morning said it would clear by noontime. So we're just holding off right now. Also, Sam Mealy has made a couple of switches in his lineup today to try and counter the left-handed pitching of Koufax. First of all, he is making a change in left field where the veteran Bob Allison will go in. Also in center, he is planning to start another right-hander by the name of Joe Nossick. Otherwise, the Twins lineup is like it was yesterday. On the other side, it appears just about the same lineup for manager Walt Austin. Juggle here and there. Lou Johnson is hitting fourth, I notice. Willie Davis will hit third. And otherwise, it's pretty sound, with Roseborough catching Koufax and hitting in the #8 spot. I don't know, it seems like in the National League, at any time Koufax is listed as a pitcher, invariably the crowd is enhanced by 8,000 to 10,000. He is certainly one of the most colorful pitchers in baseball, and he has compiled such a magnificent record over the past several years. Most of you know this year he came along with a strikeout record for the whole season, which was formerly held by the great Bob Feller in total strikeouts. This year, Sandy had 382. Feller, back in 1946, had racked up 348. Not only that, but Koufax has pitched 4 no-hitters in his career. He is only 29 years of old, a Brooklyn boy who now makes his home in Studio City, a suburb of Los Angeles. Not only did he pitch a no-hitter this year against Chicago, but it was a perfect game, a perfect no-hitter. And those just don't come along too often. On the other side, Jim Cott was a winningest left-hander in the American League. He had a great season. Talking to Johnny Sane, his pitching coach, a little bit ago before heading up for this radio booth, he said, he's a tough competitor. He does everything well on the mound. He's not only a good fielder, a good man on the pickoff play, but he hits well when he needs to. So they're banking on the left-handed pitching of Jim Cott here today. As I say, the weather is the big factor right now. And, Joe, as I recall, as we sit here, and it does appear we will have a delay today, we'd have to go back possibly to the 1962 season when in the World Series in San Francisco, they ran into a steady downpour of rain, and as I recall, it lasted more than 1 or 2 days.
Lasted about a week. I remember that most of the ball players, by the time the rain did stop where they could start playing, could have certainly qualified as movie critics, because that's all you do is go to the ballpark and it would be called off and head for the movies. This rain is not a hard rain. We've been watching the commissioner, who is seated right alongside the Minnesota Twins box, along with Charlie Seagar and Frank Slocum, and it's a busy group from the commissioner's office as they run messages back and forth. The grounds crew right now are marking off home plate with the dotted lines, and they'll be working on the base lines. Koufax continues to throw in the bullpen along with Jim Cott. You know, when you see helicopters on the field, of course, the Cracks of '62 came out, and the Classic was where they would hope that the helicopters would fly upside down. They could cut the grass at the same time. Well, we had 2 of them out here, which was too short of the record, since records are so closely kept during the World Series. And the torches are still in operation out along the left field line. If anything, it will work to the advantage of the Minnesota Twins, because it'll cut down the speed of the Dodgers. Remember in Pittsburgh, I was reading about it, where they dumped a whole load of sand and made a little bit of a sand pile for Maury where he couldn't get that good traction. That's one way to slow it down, and of course with the rain it'll be a slow track here. I don't see how you can stop that guy, though, unless you get in the clubhouse and burn his shoes.
Well, that's true, Joe, and of course a couple of years ago in San Francisco they seemed to moisten down that infield up there. But it will be interesting. Many of the people here that have followed the National League have a feeling that this Dodger Ball Club, while it doesn't have great power and doesn't have many 300 hitters, it hasn't shown itself yet. And this is a series that is still going to go a little bit. Some of the people here in Minnesota, I gather, though, have a feeling this could end in 4. They're very optimistic here, especially after yesterday's one-sided victory. But Joe and I have been in this business a long time, and we know one game doesn't mean a series. One game doesn't mean too much, and especially with a Koufax coming up. Sandy was the pitcher that was in the winning game to clinch the pennant last Saturday. He always seems to be up when he's needed. He and Drysdale, of course, have been the front-running pitchers on this Dodger club now for a number of years. I was talking to Gene Mock, though, Joe, before the game, and he said, I pitched Sandy in relief out here in the All-Star game, and it was really pathetic. It wasn't the real Sandy Koufax that you had known. He put him into the game, and the first 7 pitches he made were all balls. He didn't get one pitch over, although he did get through the inning. Mock pulled him out, and the American League went down in that game, as I recall, 6-5, and I think Sandy was the winning pitcher, but he didn't show to a great advantage here in Minnesota, and to my knowledge, that's the only time he's ever pitched up here.
Well, of course, it'll be a little different here in the World Series. With Koufax, he'll be rearing back and firing. And when you stop to talk to baseball people about the difference in Koufax, many people say it was when he gained control of his curveball. Yet Walter Olson, his manager, says that he's always had fairly good control of the curveball. It's his ability to spot his fastball, where when he would get behind the hitters, he would throw the fastball in the strike zone. He's to the point now where he can throw a strike low and inside or low and outside. And when you've got the kind of a fastball that Koufax has, you can see how tough it really can be. He comes directly overhand with his fastball. His curveball, to best describe it, is the kind of a curveball that when you were a kid, you said, boy, he can really throw a drop. That's what it does. It just rolls straight down. And I remember Mickey Mantle in the World Series when the Dodgers won 4 straight. Nicky took a third strike, and I thought it was one of the great... Well, it was a tip-off on Mantle when they asked him about Koufax's stuff. He said it was the best curveball that he saw, and added the line that even if he would have known it was coming, he doubts very much if he could have hit it. It's that type curveball. I might point out this Jim Cott is quite an athlete. He's a tremendous fielder, which will be to great advantage because he'll be able to get off that mound and come up with the bunts. Although you would have to think that bunting for the base hit would be held to a minimum because of the condition of the field. Right now they're working in front of home plate. The umpires have come out. They're huddling along the third base line. The commissioner is still talking to the plate umpire, Tony Venzon. Tony is finished right now walking towards home plate. And we will do everything we can to have a baseball game here this afternoon.
The color guard, I notice, is moving out towards center field, and apparently we are getting ready for the national anthem. I don't know whether in the process of this canvas they're pulling it back now, whether it means eventually they're going to roll it off, and we're going to try to get started or not. So we're more or less playing it by ear here, awaiting the start of the second game. Now, here is what could happen. If this game is lost to the elements, the two clubs would stay over in Minnesota, and this game would be played tomorrow. Normally, Friday is a traveling day, and Game 3 at the moment is listed for Los Angeles at Dodgers Stadium, which would be Saturday, and that would be coming on at 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And in that game, I think Camilo Pascual is slated to go for the Twins, and Claude Osteen, the left-hander, would be pitching for the Dodgers. It's pretty hard to tell at times. The people in the open seats have umbrellas up, and there are slickers, and it apparently is still coming down. I don't know just how hard the rain is, but it's enough to cause a delay, definitely, in the proceedings here of getting the World Series second game underway. Although we still have about 5 minutes to go until 1 o'clock Minnesota time. Yesterday was an 8-2 triumph, as you know. The game got a bit out of hand as Minnesota went to work on Drysdale and scored 6 runs in the third inning. And the Dodgers never caught up. Zoilo Versalles, of course, was a big name here yesterday. He drilled a home run into the seats and left on a 1-1 pitch. Drysdale said it wasn't one of my better pitches, but it at least sort of broke the game wide open. Drysdale stayed in, and there were a couple of other hits off the end of the bat that drove in more runs. But no doubt it was that key hit by Size that started the fireworks. Now, Mincher was a pretty happy fellow out here. Anytime one goes into a World Series, and there are many of these Minnesotans that have never been in a World Series, and a fellow like Mincher goes up and hits a home run, his first at bat, it's quite a thrill. And a young kid who's getting so much attention out here, and he was in Denver in early July, is the second baseman. Quilici, Frank Quilici, who tied a record by getting 2 hits in 1 inning, and over the season, a half season that he played out here for the Twins, he actually only hit .208. I know he was telling some of us today that he didn't even play baseball in high school. They didn't even have baseball in his high school in Chicago. But he came along, and he was recommended to Sam Mealy, and he certainly put him to good use in the tail end of the season. Well, at the moment, they are rolling the canvas off, and the tarp is coming off the pitching mound, and already it has been removed from home plate. Now we can go through the lineups as they've been handed out. For the Dodgers today, it'll be Maury Wills leading off at short. Jim Gilliam, third base. Willie Davis is hitting number 3 in center. Lou Johnson will be in left hitting 4. Ron Fairley will be in right field. Jim Lefebvre at second base. Wes Parker is hitting 7th, playing at first. Johnny Roseborough catching. Koufax with 26 and 8. The pitcher. Koufax in World Series competition is 2-1. Now for Minnesota. Leading off, Zoilo Versalles, shortstop. Joe Nossick in center. Tony Oliva will be in right. The cleanup hitter is Harmon Killebrew at third base. Ed Battey catching. Bob Allison goes into left field and is hitting 6. Don Mincher at first base. Frank Quilici at second base. And Jim Cott will be the 9th hitter. The second World Series game is brought to you from Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota.
Your Dodge dealer has a bigger choice of homes than most any subdivision.
Choice 1, the Dodge Camper Special. A good-looking pickup built to take just about any slide-on camper body you can buy and do an honest day's work.
When it isn't playing house.
Choice 2, the Dodge Sportsman Compact Wagon.
It's cute, handy, practical. And it can be equipped with bunks, stove, icebox, and sink. Almost makes me feel like I never left home.
And how about that Dodge Crew Cab pickup? All the room and comfort of a four-door sedan with a large cargo space out back. Plenty big enough for a slide-on camper.
I'll take the Dodge Motorhome. It's the finest of its kind. Lets you eat, sleep, live on the move in the most luxurious way possible. It's sleek outside, fabulous inside, with everything you could possibly want.
Ask your Dodge dealer to show you his many kinds of trucks. For work
and play. He'll take care of you beautifully.
We now pause 10 seconds for station identification.
WGY, WGFM, Schenectady. There's just enough time before the game starts to pour yourself a refreshing glass of lively Saratoga Vichy or sunny Saratoga Ginger Ale. Better hurry.
Here's our national anthem. Today will be Tony Vincent of the National League. John Flaherty of the American League will be at first base. Ed Sudol at second base. And moving on around, it will be Bob Stewart. Eddie Vargol will be at third base. And Ed Hurley, who was behind the plate yesterday of the American League, will move to the right field line. So the weather seems to be cooperating a little bit better. And to get us started with another banner crowd filing in at Metropolitan Stadium, it gives me great pleasure in Game 2 to send the microphone over to my colleague for the series, Joe Garagiola of the New York Yankees. Joe?
Thank you very much, By. The lights are on here at Metropolitan Stadium. Both pitchers have completed their warm-ups. They were warming up out in the bullpen in right center field. Jim Cott. Cott's a sinker ball pitcher. If he's got his good stuff, you'll see a lot of ground balls. And if Koufax has his good stuff, well, you should hear it hit the catcher's mitt, and you'll see a lot of strikeouts. It's as simple as all that. Grab the ball and throw it, and there go the Twins. The Minnesota Twins with Earl Battey behind the plate, Harmon Killebrew at third base, Zoilo Versalles, the man of the hour, at shortstop, Frank Quilici at second base, and Big Don Mincher at first base. The outfield is Allison in left field, Joe Nosek in center field, and Tony Oliva in right field. Figure that Koufax, a left-hander, will equalize the power of Oliva and Mincher. Mincher will not get the cuts that he does against right-handers, but that big guy is so strong, he's liable to swing late and hit one to the opposite field. Oliva, I don't know, when I hear him talk about equalizing Oliva, it makes me wonder, because this is a youngster that really knows no strike zone. He's an aggressive hitter, and whenever the pitcher releases the ball, he feels like he has a license to hit it, and he does, and he does a good job. Such a good job, he's led the American League in hitting for the last 2 years. The power will fall upon Killebrew at third base and Big Bob Allison in left field. Allison, a real good fastball hitter. Killebrew, well, how could you best describe him? Let's use a description that Paul Richards used when Richards was over at Baltimore and saw Killebrew for the first time. Saw him hit the ball and said that this youngster could hit the ball out of any park in America, including Yellowstone. That's Harmon Killebrew. The Dodgers, With the left-hander, you might keep in mind that the whole infield, all switch hitters, and they will lose about a step and a half batting from the right side. Step and a half on a wet track, and it could make a difference. Right now, Maury Wills is in the batter's box, and Harmon Killebrew at third base moves in to protect against the bunt. Anytime the ball hits the grass today, you're liable to throw a natural spitball. It'll be damp. Jim Cott has assigned the first pitch of the ball game. Wills takes it for a strike. A fastball over the inside corner, and Cott has a count of strike one. One strike, Maury Wills. Ball game just getting started. The left-hander ready once again. The pitch. Swung on, a fly ball, right field. Tony Oliva drifts back a few steps, waiting, makes the catch, misjudged it for a minute. And so Wills is out as he flies to Oliva in right. And here is Jim Gilliam. Gilliam, one of the better hit-and-run men. He likes to hit with the infield broken up, so with nobody on, the percentage swings to Jim Cott. But this is a fine ball player, Jim Gilliam. Started out as a coach this year. Here's the pitch. Takes it inside, a curveball, and it's ball one. Gilliam every year goes to spring training without a job and ends up playing about 140 games. This year he went as a coach. Cott delivers to Gilliam, swung on, and it's popped up into short center field. Center fielder Nosek coming in fast, waiting for it, makes the catch. 2 up and 2 down, and here is Willie Davis. It's unusual to see the fly balls off Jim Cott. He's a sinker baller. And usually a lot of ground balls, but both Wills and Gilliam would fly to the outfield, and here is Willie Davis. And Killebrew really moves in. Ball players will be busy all day getting mud out of their spikes. Cott, the left-hander, delivers to Willie Davis. Swung on and missed a slow curveball and strike one. Ball players usually have a pair of shoes they call their mudders that they'll wear on a day like today. Try to save the good pair. Fastball, and it's strike two. Willie Davis thought he held up in time. Tony Benzon, the plate umpire, says nope, and it's a strike. 2 strikes to count. Benzon behind the plate from the National League at first base, John Flaherty. Ed Sudol is at second base from National League. Bob Stewart is at third base. Ed Hurley is in right field. Ed Vargo down the left field line. Davis, a bouncing ball. Mincher at first has it. He flips it to Cott in time, and Willie Davis is out. 3-1. It's 3 up and 3 down. And so, in the middle of the first inning, the score is Los Angeles nothing and Minnesota nothing.
Aren't you just tired of crowded compacts? Arms too close to the door, legs too close to the floor? Well, don't give an inch. Join the Dodge Rebellion and Dodge Start for 66.
Here comes compact dynamite. Dodge Start for 66. More room, more comfort, more for your money. Everything you have coming, you have going for you with Dodge Start. Power that says get ready. Response that says go. That's Dart, the compact that's changing the compact image in a big way.
Is that what you want in a compact? Then the Dodge Rebellion wants you.
Bottom half of the first inning, second game of the World Series, no score, and Sandy Koufax fires his warm-up pitches into his catcher, John Roseboro. It's Wes Parker at first base, Jim Lefebvre at second base, Maury Wills is shortstop, Jim Gilliam at third. In the outfield, Lou Johnson's in left field. It's Willie Davis in center field and Ron Fairley in right field. Zoilo Versalles, the man of the hour, will lead it off for the Minnesota Twins. Versalles yesterday was 2 for 5, including a home run. He drove in 4 runs. And he stole a base, and that stolen base just a little more significant than just a plain stolen base. Many people here at the ballpark felt that it was a message that he was sending across the diamond, but Maury Wills was just great when the newspapermen asked him about it. He said he stole the base, it entertained the fans, and they won, and that's the name of the game. Here's the first pitch. It's a high curveball, ball 1. Sandy Koufax. What a tremendous arm this fella has. Talk to some National League players, and they say he belongs in another league. Higher. Anybody throw that hard and throw that kind of a curveball. The left-hander gets his sign. Here's the pitch. It's a beauty, a curveball, and it's evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. No trick pitches with Koufax. Fastball, curveball, and change of speed. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's the fastball. It's foul straight back. Out of play, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Many pitchers do not like to talk about it, but this fella says when he walks out, he expects to pitch a no-hitter. As soon as they get the first hit, well, he wants a pitcher shutout. They get the first run, then he wants a 1-run game. A real perfectionist. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the first, no score. And here's Koufax to Versalles. It's popped up into short right field. Ron Fairley is coming in, waiting for it. Between the raindrops, it makes the play. 1 out. Here is Joe Nosek. Nosek, N-O-S-S-E-K, Nosek. Right-handed batter. He's been a good ball player for manager Sam Mealy. Koufax digging around the mound, much like a hitter does at home plate. He has to get comfortable. Here's the first pitch by Koufax. It's swung on, a high fly ball deep to left field. Johnson is going back, has room. He's waiting for it, makes the catch on the warning track. 2 up and 2 down. So Nosek flies deep to Lou Johnson in left field. And here is Tony Oliva. Oliva, who's had a bad finger the whole year. But when you stop to think about it, Oliva leads the American League with a bad finger, and Koufax wins all those games in perfect games with arthritis. No wonder I couldn't do anything. I was always healthy. Oliva digging around the batter's box. He likes to hit way back in the box. He's got a big wide stance, holds the bat right down the end. Gilliam guards the line as if he were a right-handed hitter. Here's a bouncing ball. Koufax off the mound. He has it. He flips to Wes Parker, and it's 1-2-3 for the Minnesota Twins. And so, at the end of the first inning, the score is the Los Angeles Dodgers 0, the Minnesota Twins 0. Well, their names are Meg, Sharon, and Wanda, but I don't think you'd want to bring them home to Mother. You see, Meg, Sharon, and Wanda are all pro football players. Meg is M, the middle linebacker. Sharon stands for S, the strong side linebacker. And Wanda, well, you guessed it, W, or the weak side linebacker. Now, how they ever got those nicknames, I'll never know. But you'll find them on every pro football team. And now that you know about them, think of all the conversations you can start at parties. And here's another conversation starter. CC. That stands for Customer Care, the special kind of service you get only at your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealers. Customer Care means express service on small jobs so you don't have to wait, or a nice place to wait in if service will take some time. Friendly treatment, factory-trained mechanics, and factory-approved parts. People who care about you and your car. That's why the name, Customer Care. Another good reason for doing business with your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealer. Try it. I did. Top of the second inning, and here is Lou Johnson. No score in the ball game. It's been 1-2-3 for both ball clubs. In fact, it was a Wills fly ball to right, Gilliam to center, and Willie Davis went out first baseman to the pitcher. Versalles went out, fly ball to right field, and Nosek to the left field, and then it was pitcher to first. So here we go. Swing and a miss by Johnson. Strike 1. Lou Johnson. He has really been a tremendous ball player for the Dodgers. Bouncing ball foul past the third baseman. Ed Vargo, the umpire down the left field line, rotate. All the umpires moved around today. Ed Hurley, who was behind the plate yesterday, is down the right field line. 2 strikes to count on Lou Johnson. Cott delivers outside, and it's ball 1. Johnson was 1 for 4 yesterday. Outfield straight away. Versalles a couple steps towards the hole between the shortstop and the third baseman. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Line drive down the right field line, and it's foul. So the count remains at 1 ball, 2 strikes. Both ball clubs, of course, have been scouted thoroughly, but until you get out there and until you play, you really never know. 1-2 pitch. It's outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Because you can do it on paper. I remember the late and great Rogers Hornsby talking about our ball club in 52. He said we were a 50-50 club. Win in the clubhouse and lose on the field. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's a foul ball out of play, and Johnson keeps battling and count 2 balls, 2 strikes. Killebrew is at third base. He's playing deep. Versalles way back there. He's got a tremendous arm. He can afford those extra steps. At second base, it's Quilici. At first base, Mincher. Allison, Nosek, and Oliva left to right in the outfield. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Struck him out, a high fastball. Jim Cott gets his first strikeout, a high fastball. Johnson is out. Here is Ron Fairley. Fairley was 1 for 4, and that was a home run. He gave the Dodgers a very short lead. No score in this ball game. We're in the top of the second. 1 out, nobody on. Killebrew in on the grass. Jim Cott, the big left-hander, delivers to Fairley. It's a strike. Tony Venzon behind the plate. Very deliberate call that he makes. When he calls a strike, he finally gets his arm up and he flips his hand like he's flipping a yo-yo. Strike. You like to hear that catching, but you hate it hitting. Fairley, a bouncing ball. Mincher at first base. It's a fair ball. Has it. Flips to Cott, and there are 2 away. Mincher to Cott gets Fairley, and here is Jim Lefebvre. Lefebvre, a switch hitter. Yesterday he was 1 for 4. The rosin bag and the pine tar rag, which is something new in baseball, really getting a workout today. And they want to keep the bat dry on both ends. Some hitters are superstitious that way. They say that if you keep the fat part of the bat wet, the ball will slide off. I never really had that problem. Here's the pitch by Cott to Lefebvre. It's swung on, and it's missed, and it's strike 1. Cott so far has had a real good curveball. Jim Cott gets a sign. Here's the pitch. Swung on, a bouncing ball over Cott's head. Quilici is in fast. He has it. In time to Mincher. Quilici made a fine play on the slowly hit ball over the head of Cott. And it's 1-2-3 for the Dodgers in the second inning. And so at the middle of the second inning, the score is Los Angeles nothing and Minnesota nothing.
Do you get tired of looking at last year's styling on this year's cars? Change all that. Be a leader. Join the Dodge Rebellion in Dodge Coronet 66.
Blast off in Dodge Coronet for 66. If you like to be spoiled, this one does it with style. Coronet puts you way above the look-alike, the drive-alike. Get more new in your new car. More hot in your hot car. Shape up, move up, drive the new 66 Dodge Coronet.
If you want a kick out of driving again, the Dodge Rebellion wants you.
It's a wet, rainy day in Minnesota, and this is by Sam with Joe Garagiola sending you Game 2 of the World Series. The temperature reading in Minnesota, 56 right now, with a wind from the northwest at about 17 miles an hour. A great pitching has predominated in the early rounds, and we're going to the last of the second inning, and back to Joe.
Okay, bye. It's a 0-0 ball game, and here is Harmon Killebrew against Koufax. The curveball is low, and it's ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Tony Venzon behind the plate. It's going to be a job keeping the baseballs dry. Koufax gets his sign. Here's the pitch. Strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Koufax took something off his curveball that time. Gilliam way back at third base. Killebrew not known for his speed. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High, and it's ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. No score, bottom of the 2nd inning. Both clubs have gone down in order. Killebrew. The 2-1 pitch by Koufax is swung on. A high fly ball, short left field. In comes Lou Johnson, calling for it. Battles it and makes the play. Killebrew got under the pitch. And with this drizzle coming down, it's a little bit of a problem. Here is Earl Battey. Battey, right-handed hitter. Yesterday, he was 1 for 4. It was a big blow. Waller Allison thought it was the biggest of all the hits in that big 6-run 3rd inning. It was a bloop single that drove in 2, and that was the end of Drysdale. Here's a pitch by Koufax. It's a strike over the outside corner. When you can throw a fastball as hard as Koufax threw that one, to the low outside part of the plate, you're actually buying a ticket to the Hall of Fame. Another one. Strike 2, right on the outside corner at the knees. Koufax having some trouble with the mound until he releases the ball. He's been pawing around. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Curveball, swung on and missed, and Battey is out. Big breaking curveball, and Koufax has his first strikeout. 2 fastballs and a curveball, and that was all for Battey. And here is Bob Allison. No score, bottom of the 2nd. Allison platooning with Valdespino. Gilliam really guarding the line against Allison. Here's a pitch, bounces about 10 feet in front of the plate. Koufax has to grin about that one. That's the kind that Choo-Choo Coleman, when he was catching for the Mets, would say that's a real good 55-foot curveball. But it's 60 feet 6 inches to home plate, so those 55-footers will get you nowhere. Allison takes a strike, a curveball. Jim Gilliam really guarding the line. There'll be no ball hit between Gilliam and the line. He'll have to go to his left. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, a foul ball. Gilliam drifting over near the stands, looking up. It'll be out of play. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes on big Bob Allison. Koufax still digging around the mound. I doubt if he's nervous, but he has really been pawing. Koufax ready. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Curveball, low, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. When I say curveball, it is really a drop. I don't know whatever happened to those great terms we used to have. Drop, in-shoot, out-shoot, risers, fadeaways. Everything's a curveball. This is an overhand one. Here's a 2-2 pitch. This one stays high, and it's 3-2. That one seemed to squib right out of his hand, and Koufax knew it. Once again, he had the big grin on his face. It squeezed out like the bar of soap does when you're taking a bath sometimes. Just squish. 3-2 pitch. Curveball, and it's a strike call, and Bob Allison is out on strikes, and there was no doubt about that one. Split the plate, it's 1-2-3 for the Minnesota Twins, and so at the end of the 2nd inning, the score is Los Angeles 0, Minnesota 0.
Isn't it about time somebody came up with a big car without a big price to match? Dodge has. Want to hear about it? Okay. Say Polera and join the Dodge Rebellion.
66 Polera. More big for the big car man. Big. Inside and out. Without a budget-busting price. Comfort and luxury. Dodge Polera says it with style. Power. Polera says it with a big 383 V8. So if you're in the mood for talking big, talk to your Dodge dealer about the 66 Polera.
It's the truth. Polera's the proof. The Dodge Rebellion wants you.
Top half of the 3rd inning, and it's no score. Scoreboard is clean as a whistle. For the Dodgers, no runs, no hits, no errors. Twins, no runs, no hits, no errors. And here is Wes Parker against Jim Cott. Parker batting right-handed. The whole infield, switch hitters for the Dodgers. Cott delivers. Swung on and missed, strike one. Killebrew at third base is about even with the bag. Versalles is back on the edge of the outfield grass. Quilici is back at second base, and Mincher's wide at first. Curveball inside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Jim Cott, left-hander, a tremendous athlete, helps himself on a mound. Good hitter. He battles you. There's his strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Top of the third, no score, and here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He put a little extra on that one. The on-deck hitter for the Dodgers, John Roseboro. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Wes Parker. Cott shakes off the sign. Ready, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Inside, it's ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes, a full count. Outfield straight away. 3-2 pitch. Ball 4, and Wes Parker draws a base on balls. That's the first base runner in this game. Parker is on, and John Roseboro is the hitter. And with Koufax pitching, you can look for anything. They bunt in the first inning with Koufax. 1 run can be a mountain. Jim Cott taking plenty of time. Parker, a lead. Cott delivers. Roseboro takes it over the outside corner for strike 1. The lights are on here at Metropolitan Stadium. 1 strike the count. Roseboro the hitter. Parker a lead, a good one. Here's the pitch. It's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roseboro way back in the batter's box. It almost appears that he's out of it with his back foot. But it could be that the inside part of his foot is in contact with that back line. That's all you need. Parker a lead at first. Here's a throw to first base. Parker is back easily. Was not a good move. That was the commercial. That was the one that Cott says, I know you're there and I'll be back in a minute. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, moved him back, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. The good move by any pitcher borders on being a balk. It's built on deception. Parker a good lead at first base. No score, top of the third. Cott delivers to Roseboro. Swung on, line drive, left field. Allison going back. He's there, makes the catch. Line drive. Allison hauls it in, and Wes Parker heads back to first base. And Sandy Koufax is the hitter. Koufax has made himself a pretty good hitter. Killebrew comes in to say something to Cott. It used to be with Koufax when he first came to the big leagues, if he hit a foul ball, he felt like he had broken a slump. But he has made himself a pretty good hitter. He swings the bat. Killebrew looking for a bunt. Koufax shortens up, takes it inside, and it's ball 1. They really came busting down. If possible, Koufax will try to make Mincher feel the ball, because being the right-handed thrower, to make the play at second base on Parker, he'd have to turn completely around. And as big as he is, he'd turn around in sections. Cott at the belt, checks the base runner. Parker a big lead. Killebrew coming in. Koufax takes it over the inside corner, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And once again, he's shortened up as if to bunt. 1 out. No score in this game. We're at the top of the third. Killebrew in about 5 steps at third base. Mincher holds Parker close at first. Cott delivers. Koufax swings and slashes one down the first base line, foul. He shortened up as if to bunt and then swung away. As an infielder, that'll really put you on your heels. One man out. No score. Wes Parker, who drew a base on balls, is on at first base. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Koufax squares around but takes it high, and it's 2-2. He was going to bunt on the third strike. Takes a good look at Preston Gomez, coaching at third. Killebrew still looking for the bunt. Parker at first base gets the lead. Cott set. 2-2 pitch. Koufax swings away. It's a bouncing ball to Quilici. His play will be to first base in time to get Koufax, and Wes Parker moves on down to second. So there are 2 away with Parker at second base, and the hitter is Maury Wills. And Wills taking a little bit of time. He's still in the on-deck circle now, swinging a couple bats. One of the little extra things that a leadoff man must do, he has to stall a little bit for time now to give Koufax a chance to get back to the dugout and get a breather. Wills just now coming up to the batter's box. He'll back out of there a couple times. This little guy, a tremendous ball player. A perfect example to the youngsters who sometimes think they're too small and can't get to the big leagues. Here's the best example I know. He's made himself a tremendous ball player, Maury Wills. Here's a pitch by Cott. Swung on a fly ball, right field. Tony Oliva's drifting back. Has room, makes the catch. Wills flies to Oliva in right field. That ends the inning for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And so at the middle of the third inning, the score is Los Angeles nothing and the Twins nothing. Well, it happened when the Ironwood, Michigan Polar Bears were playing a team from Minneapolis in 1939. And Harry Newby gets the ball in his own 27. He slants off tackle to his own 39, where he's forced back to his own 24. Slants again to his own 47. Forced back to his own 1. He circles left to his own 25. Forced to his own 16 again. And he cuts back, legs it all the way to the Minneapolis goal line. Total of 265 yards. You know, that's probably the longest run in football. And that's really doing it the hard way. And some people do it every day, month after month. They'll put up with the same old runaround in car service. It's kind of silly when there's customer care available at your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealers. No going around in circles here, and they're as good to you as they are to your car. Make sure you have a nice place to wait, plus express service for minor fix-ups. Customer care at your Chrysler, Plymouth, or Dodge dealers. Try some soon. The ground crew right now working on the mound, and while that goes on, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
810 and you dial WGY, WGFM, Schenectady. Try Saratoga Vichy. It fizzes and fizzes and fizzes all through your drink, never leaves you flat. But Saratoga Vichy has more than lively action. It has a dry, satisfying taste that compares with, well, nothing else, really. That's because nature gives Saratoga Vichy a delicate balance of ingredients that man-made mixers just can't duplicate. So try the authentic Vichy, Saratoga Vichy with a yellow label. It's unnatural.
Early October that they've had in a decade. Naturally, the grass and everything is very green out here. And Joe and I getting comments from the ball players and the managers that have gathered here for the World Series. They certainly give a #1 rating for this field. It's in great shape, although there's some raindrops coming down. But we are playing baseball after a delay of just about 5 minutes. And 2 magnificent left-handed pitchers. And we're rolling now to the last of the third inning. Twins coming up, and here we go with Joe.
Right bar and some. And here is Koufax against Mincher. He was the man of the hour with a home run off Drysdale yesterday. Curveball is a strike. That one really snapped off. Here's the pitch. Fastball high, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. No score, bottom of the third. Leadoff man in this inning, Don Mincher. He's up there with the count of 1 ball, 1 strike. Koufax delivers. Swung on a foul ball down the third base line. It'll be out of play. So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Scoreboard, Dodgers, no runs, no hits, no errors. Twins, no runs, no hits, no errors. We are in the bottom of the third inning. Nobody on, nobody out. Don Mincher with the count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. Outfield swung around. They play Mincher to pull. Here's the 1-2 pitch. High and tight, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Koufax with that high, tight fastball. Can go either way now. He's got it set up for the curveball. Let's see. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball high. It's 3-2. He wanted that one. There's been only 1 base runner in this game. Wes Parker drew a base on balls, and that's been it. It's been between Koufax and Cott. 3-2 pitch. Strike is called, and Mincher knew it. Mincher is called out on strikes. That's the third strikeout, and it's 3 in a row for Koufax. Here is Frank Quilici, the second baseman. Quilici yesterday had 2 base hits. Koufax looks down for the sign from his catcher, John Roseborough. And here's the first pitch. Swung on, and it's missed, and it's strike 1. Koufax has struck out 3. When he's got his good stuff, he'll stack the lumber for you in a neat pile. Inside, moves Quilici back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 out. No score, bottom of the third. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A little looper foul. Just barely gets to the dugout of the Minnesota Twins. Quilici hit that one right off the thumbs. He's choked up on that bat. He's got a pretty good piece. Could hit from either end. Here's a 1-2 pitch. High. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Koufax can't seem to get comfortable. He had the ground crew out there working on the mound. Now he's ready. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. It's a full count on young Quilici. They shade Quilici, even though he's a right-hand hitter, towards right center. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Lays off the high fastball, draws the walk, and Quilici is on. So that's the first base runner for the Minnesota Twins. Wes Parker comes in to say something to Koufax. Here's Jim Cott. This fellow knows what to do with the bat, and during the regular season, Sam Mealy has used him as a pinch hitter. He's a big guy. Gilliam is in looking for the bunt at third base. Wes Parker holding Quilici close at first base. They have hit and run on occasions with Cott. Here's a pitch. Cott takes a strike. He's going to have to make Parker feel the ball. Gilliam really charging hard. Gilliam at third base. Wills at short. Lefebvre at second and Parker at first. No score. Bottom of the third. Koufax checks the base runner. Cott was going to swing. Takes it. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Sam Mealy switched off. Went to the hit sign. And Cott squared around as if the bunt, drew the infielders in a couple steps and was ready to swing away. Billy Martin very busy giving signs at third base. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Quilici a good lead. Koufax backs off the mound. As we mentioned before, they have started base runners with Cott hitting. He can get a piece of it. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There goes Quilici. Swung on and missed. Here's the throw. It is in time. They got him with Maury Wills covering. So the hit and run backfired. Koufax got the strike. Roseborough threw a strike to Maury Wills, who put the tag on Quilici, and there are 2 outs. Jim Cott up there with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. A strike is called on a curveball. Cott knew it, and that's it. 4 strikeouts for Sandy Koufax. It ends up a 1-2-3 inning. The Minnesota Twins go down in order. And so at the end of the third inning, the score is Dodgers 0, Twins 0. Mickey Rooney guest stars in a powerful drama next Wednesday evening when Bob Hope presents the Chrysler Theater on NBC at 9, 8 o'clock Central Time. Byron Som, who does the Phillies games, has seen Koufax a lot. I guess by every day you see him, it doesn't make any difference how many times you see him. You get that little tingle.
That's right, Joe. And some years ago, I know when they were playing at the Coliseum, Sandy started a game against us, and he was so wild, he just didn't get through the first inning. And Austin took him out and started him the very next night, and he just came through with a magnificent shutout and about a 3-hitter. And, of course, this is some years ago. Sandy has really come into his own of late, and you've all heard about him, his strikeouts. I was kind of interested a while ago, Joe, when you mentioned the 55 feet distance to the mound. There's one fellow years ago, a fellow by the name of Matt Kilroy, that had 505 strikeouts, but the mound was only 50 feet out.
I don't think I'd want to hit at Koufax at 50 feet. Here is Jim Gilliam. High for ball one. Koufax at 50 feet not only strike you out, he'd hit you right in the nose with every pitch. Jim Cott shakes off a sign, delivers to Gilliam. Swung on a foul ball, out of play, right side. 1 ball and 1 strike. No score in this game, top of the 4th. Scoreboard clean as a whistle. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Dodgers. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Minnesota Twins. Jim Cott against Gilliam, and here's the 1-1 pitch. It's high, and it's ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Gilliam fly to center field his first time up. Cott delivers. Swung on, there's a fly ball deep to right field, but Oliva is there, waiting for it, makes the catch. Gilliam flies to Oliva in right field, so there's 1 away, and it brings up Willie Davis. Davis bounced out, Mincher to Cott. Cott was able to fool Davis with a big, wide-breaking curveball. Changed speeds on him, not only the break of the ball, but the speed had Willie Davis way out in front. Killebrew moves in at third base to protect against the bunt. Here's the pitch. It's a strike. 1 strike on Willie Davis. Only 2 base runners in this game. Wes Parker drew a walk, and Frank Quilici drew a base on balls. Davis, a bouncy ball. Mincher up with it. Flips to Cott in time, and Davis is out, so they repeat it. Mincher wasn't too sure of that ball. He caught the ball and then looked down to see if it was really the ball. And then decided once he had it, I better give it to Cott because here comes Willie Davis. So there are 2 outs, and here is Lou Johnson. He was a strikeout victim in the second. Right-handed batter. Cott delivers. Hits a strike. Cott is around the plate. He's not afraid to throw strikes. He'll make him hit the ball. Swung on and missed, and it's strike 2. Johnson walks out of the batter's box now and takes a little bit of inventory, starts talking to himself, which you usually do. Like, how could I miss that one? I saw it all the way. It's one of the great things about catching. You hear all that conversation. They talk to themselves, they answer themselves. 2-strike pitch. Swung on, well hit, center field. Nozick is going back on the warning track, and makes the catch right in front of the fence. Lou Johnson hit it to the farthest part of this ballpark, and Nozick got a real good jump and hauled it in. So it's 1-2-3 for the Dodgers. And so at the middle of the 4th inning, the score is Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing.
If you're looking for a luxury car that has all the things you've ever wanted, Dodge has a new way to play. Monaco. Sound inviting? Come on, join the Dodge Rebellion.
With Dodge Monaco, the rules are simple. Get in, get relaxed, get going. Stand up for your rights. Sit down in comfort. Dodge Monaco. You think a luxury car has to be square? Let Monaco round out the picture. Don't follow the leader. Drive it. 66 Dodge Monaco.
Monaco's the name. Are you game? The Dodge Rebellion wants you.
We're at Metropolitan Stadium in the Twin Cities, and as you know, we'll be coming back to the Twin Cities unless Minnesota goes on to take the first 4 games. Because after today, games 6 and 7 are listed for this stadium. Games 3, 4, and 5, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in Los Angeles. But here we go in a real pitching battle. Last of the 4th, Minnesota at the plate, and Joe Gargiulo.
Okay, Byron Sam. And it's Koufax once again, getting his sign from Roseboro. And Versalles to lead it off. Versalles flied to right his first time up. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back. He had a good cut at a good fastball. That was strength against strength, and Koufax won. Versalles had a real good cut. Koufax, good fastball. There are many times he just gets in the spot and says, here's my best fastball, you try to hit it. Delivers, and Versalles swings and misses, and a strike two. Versalles went completely around. Once again, he had a good cut. Koufax has struck out 4. No score, bottom of the 4th. Neither ball club has a base hit. Here's the pitch. Foul ball pulled down the left field line. Way foul. And the count remains at strike 2. Jim Lemon coaching at first base. Billy Martin coaches at third base. Koufax fidgeting around. Cap, rosin bag, ball. Tug at the cap, the pants. All part of a pitching pattern. Delivers a curveball high. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sandy Koufax. Versalles waiting. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and he struck him out. He took something off the curveball, a change of speed pitch, and Versalles was way out in front, and that's strikeout number 5 for Koufax. And here is Joe Nosek. He flied deep to left his first time up. The fellow like Koufax, as a catcher, all you have to do is put down fingers. The outstanding fastball, the outstanding curveball. There's a curveball high, and it's ball 1. And if you just happen to have a new glove and you want to break it in and say 2 or 3 innings, keep calling for fastballs. Here's the pitch. It's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe Nosek. Koufax ready. Delivers. Swung on and fouled straight back. The count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. This is the bottom of the 4th. No score. Nobody on, 1 man out. Koufax getting his sign. And here's the pitch. High, and it's ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tony Venzon, the plate umpire. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on a line drive, center field. A base hit for Joe Nosek. Willie Davis is up with it on the first hop, and that's the first hit of the game. Joe Nosek singles to center field, and he is on. And here is Tony Oliva. Nosek appeared to hit a curveball. It seemed to hang. It was about belt high, and he sent one right back up the middle. So Nosek is on with a single, and it brings up Oliva. Oliva tapped out his first time up. 1 man out. Nosek will lead at first. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 1. And what a cut he had. Swung himself right out of the batter's box. Tony Oliva. He was hitless yesterday, 0 for 4. Koufax has struck out 5. Nosek will lead at first base. He is a second base runner. Quilici drew a base on balls. Nosek got a base hit. Koufax getting the sign. Here's a lob throw to first base. Koufax does not have an outstanding move to first base. He has to come directly overhanded with the ball, and that gives the base runner plenty of chance to get back. Nosek a big lead. He's holding the pitches swung on and missed by Oliva, and a strike 2. Of course, it could be that Koufax has so few base runners, he just never gets used to pitching with men on. The rain has let up considerably here at the ballpark. The lights are still on. The score is 0-0. Oliva waits. Here's the pitch. Lays off the high fastball. It's ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nosek at first base. 1 man out. Bottom of the 4th inning. No score. Second game of the World Series. Oliva takes a little bit of time now, get the dirt out from between the spikes. And Koufax gets his sign. Checks the base runner Nosek, and here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, and Oliva is out on strikes. That's 6 strikeouts for Koufax. And here is Killebrew. Harmon Killebrew, a power hitter. He digs in. Takes a look around at Billy Martin. Not much strategy going here. 2 outs. Nosek, a base runner at first. Koufax gets his sign. Delivers. Curveball is low. And it's ball 1. Roseboro, a fine arm. He's a good throwing catcher. Likes to throw. Will throw to any base. Gilliam way back at third base. Wills is deep at short. Second baseman Lefebvre shades near the bag. Here's the pitch. Swung on, base hit, left field. Nosek rounds second. Johnson fumbles the ball, and here comes Nosek trying for third, and he'll make it standing up, and Killebrew moves on down to second. It's a base hit for Harmon Killebrew, an error for Lou Johnson, and now Earl Battey is the hitter. Roseboro goes out to say something to Koufax. And this is a spot where they'll probably switch sides because there's a man on at second base. And with the spot open at first base, it's a choice of pitching to who he'd rather pitch to, Battey or the on-deck hitter, Bob Allison. Nosek at third, Killebrew at second base. There are 2 outs, bottom of the 4th. Koufax gets his sign and delivers to Earl Battey. High, ball 1. Battey was the first strikeout victim in the second inning. Battey chokes up on the bat. He gave up some of his power to just spray the ball. Dodger defense towards right center field. There's a lot of room down the left field line. Here's the pitch by Koufax. Swung on, it's popped up. In foul territory, Wes Parker near the stands. May have room. He does, makes the play. Wes Parker near the stands in foul territory. Hauls in the foul ball hit by Earl Battey. And that ends the 4th inning for the Minnesota Twins. And so at the end of the 4th inning, the score is Dodgers nothing, Twins nothing.
Do all those look-alike new cars leave you confused? Avoid confusion. Avoid the look-alikes. Be a winner. Join the Dodge Rebellion.
Things are booming with Dodge, starting with darts for 66. Darts, the compact that has room with a viewpoint. Fresh, new, impressive. Take Coronet for 66. Smartest, hottest, swinginest Dodge since Dodge began. And 66 Monaco, the big plush Dodge built for luxury you can afford. See all the new Dazzlers from Dodge.
If you want to be different and want to be noticed, the Dodge Rebellion wants you.
It's World Series time, and Minnesota, of course, for the first time in their 5-year history here in Minnesota, gets into the Fall Classic. The Dodgers have been in World Series competition before, but they had very little luck in their old days at Ebbets Field. I think they lost the first 7 World Series they got into, but they finally started to win a few of late. And, of course, the last time they got in the World Series, they won in 4 straight. It's 1-up, of course, in favor of Minnesota, and we've got quite a pitching duel going. Here we go with the Dodgers in the 5th, and Joe.
Right behind, it's Ron Fairley. Here's a curveball that's low, and it's ball 1. Jim Cott against Ron Fairley. Fairley bounced out his first time up from Mincher to Cott. The left-hander delivers. It's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody on, nobody out. Top of the 5th, no score. Cott, the left-hander, delivers to Fairley. Swung on and tapped foul past the first base coach into the Minnesota dugout. Preston Gomez coaches at third base. Danny Ozark at first base. Walter Alston, a bench manager. Lefty Phillips, a pitching coach. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on. Past Mincher into right field for a base hit. Ron Fairley is on with a single. And there was no doubt about that being a high curveball. You could see Fairley wait for it and really tomahawk it. So that's the first Dodger hit. And a second base runner, as Wes Parker was the base runner back in the third when he drew a base on balls. So Fairley is on, and Jim Lefebvre is the hitter. Lefebvre bounced out, second to first. Caught at the belt. Fairley a lead. Here's the pitch. Lefebvre takes it inside, ball one. He squared around as if to bunt. One run is going to be a big run for either pitcher. We are in the top of the fifth. Dodgers have made one hit. The Twins have made two. No score. Nobody out. Fairley at first base. Caught. Gets his sign. Lefebvre waits. Fairley a lead. Here's the pitch. Swung on down the left field line. Curving. Allison getting over there. He dives, and what a play he made. Here comes the throw in as they try for two. It is not in time as Fairley slides back. A tremendous play by Bob Allison. Well, there it was. The key play in this series so far is Big Bob Allison, who's in primarily for his big bat, made a diving catch. He gave it a swan dive that would have done any swimming coach proud. He skidded for about 15 feet, held on to the ball, and then came up throwing, hoping he could double Fairley at first, but he couldn't. Here is Wes Parker. The pitch is a strike. Fairley had already rounded second base, and he retraced his steps, stepped on second base, and headed back to first, and I mean headed back. What a tremendous play by Bob Allison in left field. Here's the pitch. Swung on, a bouncing ball. Quilici, Mincher now knocks the ball down, and everybody is safe. Mincher hesitated. It was far to his right. Looked like Quilici was going to make the play, and then the big guy, Mincher, started over, knocked it down, and everybody is safe. So it goes as an infield hit for Wes Parker. It moves Fairley down to second base. So there you are. Parker gets an infield hit, and Lefebvre hit a line drive down a left field line, and he just has to time it back. Here is Roseboro. Crowd still buzzing on the play by Bob Allison. Roseboro, left-handed batter, lined hard to left field his first time up. Cott checks the base runners, delivers to Roseboro. It's outside, ball one. No score in this ball game. Both ball clubs with two hits now. Dodgers have made one error. Twins have yet to make an error. Parker at first, Fairley at second. The pitch to Roseboro, outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Koufax, the on-deck hitter. 2 balls, no strikes. Cott checks the runners. Here's the pitch. It's a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fairley at second base. Parker at first base. 1 man out, top of the 5th, no score. Koufax got Battey to get out of a situation. Caught in one right now. Here's the 2-1 pitch now to John Roseboro. Swung on and tapped foul down the first base line. So the count levels out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 1 man out, no score, top of the 5th, second game of the World Series. Fairley at second base. Wes Parker standing on the bag at first. Cott has his sign. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Roseboro. Swung on, a foul ball down the third base line. Killebrew over near the stands. May have room. Reaches over a one-handed grab. Killebrew, a fine play. And Roseboro is out as Killebrew reached into the stands and made the play. So there are 2 outs. So both Bob Allison and Killebrew, who are known more for their bats have made fine defensive plays in this inning. Guarantee you that if Allison or Killebrew would leave their gloves back at the hotel, they could still play. But if they left their bats at the hotel, I doubt they'd get in the lineup. But this inning, they've turned in defensive plays. Great ones. Allison, a diving catch. Killebrew reached over in the stands, and here's Koufax. Swings and misses, strike one. Sandy was going for the long one. He turned the bat loose. Fairley's at second base. Wes Parker is at first base. There are 2 outs. Top of the 5th inning, no score. 1 strike to count on Koufax. Here's the pitch. Popped up in foul territory. Don Mincher near the Minnesota dugout. He's waiting, makes the catch. Koufax fouls to Don Mincher in front of the Minnesota Twins dugout, and that ends the inning for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the score at the end of 4.5 innings, it's the Dodgers nothing and the Twins nothing. Bottom half of the 5th inning, no score, and as it so often seems to happen anyhow, Bob Allison, who made the great catch, will lead it off, and now to carry you down the rest of the way from the Philadelphia Phillies, here is Byram Sam.
All right, Joel, thank you very much. And a great hand goes up for Bob Allison. He must be a mutter. He really made a great running, sliding catch, as Joe pointed out. With the elements and playing on a heavy field today, it's just remarkable. All right, Allison fouls the first Koufax delivery, and it's 0-1. No runs and 2 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, 2 hits for Minnesota. The game rolling along, last half of the 5th inning. Allison did not play yesterday, but it appears that he will be in action, not only in this game, but in Game 3 for southpaw Osteen is slated to pitch in Los Angeles Saturday. Allison struck out his first time up, and the celebrated lefty Koufax delivers a strike 2 call. Sandy keeps kicking away on that mound. This mound apparently did not suit him in the All-Star game. Extremely wild, but today he's walked only 1, and he has recorded 6 strikeouts. He studies, and he works. Outside, a ball. 1-2. It appears now, with these 2 left-handers going so strongly, it's going to have to be a break somewhere along the line, possibly a fumble, error, to create a run. Foul coming back. 1-2. And Allison not made the diving catch on Lefebvre. There's no question in the minds of the people along here that Fairley would have come on in and scored. But it's still 0-0. Billy Martin is the little pepper pot coach at third, and big, tall Jim Lemon, a great slugger in his day, is down at first base. Here's a smashing foul, third base side. 1-2. To follow, it'll be Don Mincher. No runs for L.A. They have a couple of hits, and they've committed 1 error. And for the Twins, the same story, except they haven't committed an error. Here we go. Fastball that brushed him back. 2-2. On the slide that Allison made, you can now see a tremendous mud-spattered spot on the side of his uniform. One time, you know, Allison was playing at first base. Now they've relegated him back to the outfield. But he can be dangerous. Good power. Swings, and he is out. The ball dropped by Roseborough. I don't think Johnny knew whether it was a strikeout or a foul tip. But he tags him and, for good measure, throws it down to Parker. And it will be for Koufax, his 7th strikeout. Free-swinging Don Mincher. He took a strike 3 call his first plate appearance. Now the infield for the Dodgers today is Gilliam, Wills, Lefebvre, and Parker. Here's a swing and a miss, strike 1. Koufax has only lost 1 game in World Series competition. He was defeated in 1959, I believe it was, 1-0 by Bob Shaw, who is now with San Francisco. Here's strike 2 call. Working fast. His curve is way upstairs, a ball. It appears once in a while when Koufax gets off line Early in this game, he threw one that hit the dirt, one that goes way up high. He kind of laughs at himself on the mound and wonders just how he can let a pitch get away. Here's another one way up high. 2-2. He has great pride in his work, and for a left-hander has tremendous control. One out, the pitch. It is high, and he is working high and away on this Mincher. These last 3 pitches have all been way up into the outside. Now, the lights have been on. We started 5 minutes late today because of showers. And the pitch. Here the ball sits to left center, base hit. Hurrying over for the pickup is Lou Johnson. It'll be a single for Don Mincher. Hit a 3-2 pitch and sailed it on a line into left center field. So the Twins have their 3rd hit. Here's a young man by the name of Frank Quilici, a Chicago boy, and he's coming up for the 2nd time. He walked in the 3rd inning. All in all, it's a very fast game. There have been very few threats, and on the scoreboard, it's still 0-0. The 2nd game of the World Series from the Twin Cities in Minnesota. Quilici swings and fouls it away, a strike. Koufax taking a little more time now. Normally, he's a very steady and fast worker. He delivers. There's a half swing and a punch ball out to Lefebvre. The second baseman is there, and it's an easy put out. 2 gone. And Minnesota is sending up Jim Cut. One thing that Joe pointed out to me, he said, this fellow's a fine competitor. He battled you, and he's had 2 real fine back-to-back years for Minnesota. But this must be a great pleasure for him to be in his first World Series. Here he is, and he tries to move up and bunt one. He missed the strike. I understand that Cott lives in one of these smaller communities right outside of the Twin Cities, and Joe, he's another athlete that one of these days I guess will be in the radio business. We've got a few of them.
It's not a bad business to be in, I'll tell you.
And he takes the ball. What a win. Swings and misses. Strike 2. His last name is spelled K-A-A-T. Pronounced Cut. That's Mincher at first. Here's a stretch in the pitch and a swing, and that's all for Cut. As Koufax hangs up another strikeout. This gives him his 8th. For Minnesota, no runs, 1 hit and 1 left on. The score at the end of 5-0.
Heads up, handsome. Heads up, look alive.
Be a heads-up kind of guy with new heads up, by Gillette.
For a handsome head of hair, new heads-up hair grooming for men. New from Gillette in 2 different forms. New heads-up liquid, new heads-up tube. An entirely new kind of hair grooming developed by Gillette Research. Not greasy, not drying, but a clean, modern formula that's never messy. So clean it rinses right off your hands. So clean it combs right in. You can't tell it's there. New Heads Up by Gillette, in whichever form you prefer, liquid or tube. Yes, for a handsome head of hair that stays that way all day.
Heads up, handsome. Heads up, look your best.
Keep your hair looking its handsome best with new heads up, by Gillette.
Before moving along to the 6th inning, we pause for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY, WGFM, Schenectady. Saratoga ginger ale is a little bit different from mass-produced ginger ales. For one thing, it has the rich, sunny flavor that you get only with pure Jamaica ginger. Then there's the carbonation, subdued but persistent. Saratoga ginger ale puts on a lively drink, all right. It never gets pushy about it. Give Saratoga ginger ale a try. Mix with it or drink it straight. After all these years of pale imitations, you may be amazed to discover what ginger ale can really taste like.
Wells, at the start of the 6th inning, has just tapped the first pitch. A high chop ball had just evaded the outstretched glove of Killebrew, and the ball is into left field, and Wills is on with a single. Maury had 2 hits yesterday and could have easily had another one, except for a fine running catch by Jimmy Hall in left center. But now let's check and see how Wills operates with nobody out. Gilliam is a batter, batting right-handed. Here's the lead, here's the pitch, and it is a curveball for a strike. 1 strike with a runner on. Now we haven't had a chance to see Wills operate in a situation quite like this. With a close ball game. Lefty Cott is going to go to first base. Wills getting back. They claim that there's none finer at studying pitchers. All right, to the plate. There he goes, and there's a ball tapped to third base. Killebrew is up. He throws to first high, but Mincher leaps and comes back to the bag in time. Gilliam hit away, however. They get Wills to second base, and Gilliam is out. The play goes from third to first. Almost an overthrow there by Killebrew. Well, we've seen them work different plays, and Joe, it looks like here they were set for a hit-run play, and Gilliam got a piece of the ball, but didn't get it by Killebrew.
By on the very first pitch, Wills took the lead that he calls a one-way lead, where it's an exaggerated lead, and at any move the pitcher makes, he'll break back towards the bag. But on the second one, he shortened his lead a little bit as if he had Cott measured, and I'd be willing to say that had Gilliam taken the ball, I doubt very much if they'd have been able to throw Wills out at second base. Once he takes the second step, he's full speed, boy. He's all moving right now.
Now, this is only the second time. Well, I guess it's the third time LA's had a runner now at the halfway station. Pitching to Willie Davis. It's low and outside a ball. 1 out. There are many times in situations like that where Gilliam, that's right, he'll take the pitch or he'll hit away. If the hit and run is on, they'll get, of course, a base knock, and they've got Wills all the way to third. Or if he's stealed, sometimes there's an overthrow. But this is the way the Dodgers have won so many of their games. There's a pop, and it looks like it's going to be playable. Killebrew coming down and moving with the wind actually winds up almost near the mound. He started in, he had to go back, and he finally made it. So Killebrew is a pretty active man in this 6th inning. A pop caught, 2 out. Wills had to remain at second base. And here comes Lou Johnson. He really hit one deep in the 4th inning, but it was caught by Joe Nossick in deep center field. The score is still 0-0. Minnesota and the Dodgers. They're playing for all the marbles now in this World Series. A runner at second. Johnson is 0 for 2. Cott delivers. Outside a ball. Johnson struck out and fly deep to center. He can be a very dangerous hitter. He steps into those pitches and gets his head right out over the plate. There goes Wills, and there's a little blooper, but it's back to Mincher, and he's got it, and Wills was on the move to third base. That is a 3rd out. A pop fly caught by Mincher. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And we go to the last half of the 6th inning. Score, Dodgers 0, Minnesota 0.
Exactly what wives do with razor blades is not yet known to science. But we have some rough ideas. They scrape floors, they scrape windows. They sharpen pencils, they cut out menus. They saw through cords, ropes, cables, phone books, sheet metal. This is bad. That little gadget in the medicine cabinet is not a Gillette stainless steel cord cutter, not a Gillette stainless steel floor scraper, not a Gillette stainless steel pencil sharpener. It is the finest stainless steel razor blade in the world. And if the wife doesn't seem to get the message, lock that blade away.
This is a news bulletin from NBC News, Chicago. Here is Bill Matney.
President Johnson's doctors pronounced him as in generally excellent condition today and said the president's gallbladder operation will be performed about 7:30 tomorrow morning Eastern Time. The doctor speculated that Mr. Johnson might be out of the bed as early as tomorrow afternoon. However, the effects of the operation may linger for several days. We repeat, President Johnson's doctors pronounced him as in generally excellent condition today and said the president's gallbladder operation will be performed about 7:30 tomorrow morning, Eastern Time.
This has been a news bulletin from NBC News, Chicago. Now back to Minnesota and Game 2 of the World Series.
And now to the ball game in the last half of the sixth inning. This is Versalles leading off and a pitch high for a ball one. Right-handed batter against Koufax fouls one to the upper deck. 1-1. Versalles flied to right, struck out, but he was a big gun in the Minnesota attack yesterday. They've got a host of nicknames for this young man out here in the Twin Cities. Zippy Z, one of the fellows called him today, but he is quite a ball player. There's a pop foul that's coming back. 1-2. He's the same individual that just a couple of years ago was quite homesick in his early days here at Minnesota. I think the one fellow that's straightened him out and given him so much confidence is Coach Billy Martin. Steps back. Koufax has allowed 3 hits. Lefty set, delivers. And a bouncing ball deep third, gets by Gilliam. Too hot to handle. The ball is out into left field, and there goes Versalles. He's at second base. He's on. I'm sure that will be a double. That ball was savagely hit and got through. Gilliam at third base. So the Twins have a runner at second and nobody out. Joe Nossick. Apparently Sam Mealy is going to platoon center field. They're going to rule it an error. They're going to rule it a boot on Gilliam. So that is the second error against the Dodgers. One hit for Nossick. Single to center field. That was actually the first hit off Koufax. He's hunting. Sandy for the ball. No play at third at all. He goes to Lefebvre covering at first base. So the sacrifice is in order, and it pays off. The good news for Minnesota. 1 out. And there'll be a little meeting of the minds now on the mound with Tony Oliva coming up. Roseborough is out talking it over with Sandy. Now here's the hottest hitter in the American League, and he has been for a couple of years, and yet in this World Series he's still looking for his first hit. He got the collar yesterday, 0 for 4, and today bounced to the pitcher and struck out. No runs and 3 hits for the Dodgers. They've committed a couple of errors. No runs, 3 hits for Minnesota, and Austin now is moving the infield up. 1 gone. Here's a tight spot for Koufax. He works. He's high this time with a let-up pitch. Ball 1. So far, runs are tough to get. A rainy, cloudy day in Minnesota. And the Dodgers still looking for their first win. The lefty delivers. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Versalles on through an arrow. Moved to third on the bunt. Koufax studies. In motion, delivers. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Now, sometimes sitting up here, it looks so easy to make contact. And here's the man who won the batting title in the American League. And he's seeing some of Koufax's best stuff right now. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here it is. High fastball. 2-2. The score remains 0-0. We're at Metropolitan Stadium, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and the American League champions trying to take the lead here in their half of the 6th inning. The 2-2. There's the ball to left field. That looks like it's going to be in there. It is. A run will score. Versalles comes in. Oliva's going for 2. Here's a throw. Slides. He's safe. put Minnesota into the lead in this game, 1-0. Ball hit to left field sharply, good enough to bring Versalles in. And Tony just streaked on into second base to get himself a double. Now pitching to Killebrew. One out, the delivery. There's a ball to left, another hit. Here comes Oliva. He's heading to the plate. He'll score. It's a single. 2-0, Minnesota. Now the arrow opened it up here in the sixth inning, but now some booming hits, and it's 2-0, the Twins. Batting in the sixth inning with still only one out. That's a second straight hit for Killebrew. The batter is Battey. There's another hit in the same hole between third and short. Runners at first and second. Time out. Manager Austin is coming out as Minnesota has put together now 3 hits. A double by Oliva, a single by Killebrew, and a one-base hit by Battey. Austin's taking the slow walk, and now we've got right-hander Bob Miller and left-hander Ron Peronowski warming up in the bullpen. Time is out as Austin goes to the mound. Just a recap on the inning now. In this last of the sixth inning, Versalles hit a sharp ground ball that skidded high and away from Gilliam at third. It was ruled an error. Nozick put the bunt down, and Koufax had only one play, went to first, and Versalles went to third. Then Oliva, even though the count was 2-2, he doubled to left. Killebrew followed up with a one-base hit, and Battey delivered with a timely single. They're going to stay with Koufax, although Austin keeps his 2 best relievers tuning up in the bullpen in right center field. Bob Allison now coming to bat. He struck out in the second and went down swinging again in the fifth inning. And has made the most spectacular grab of the series so far. A swing on a breaking ball, strike one. The lights are on and the rain has ceased, but it has been a wet, dampish day in Minnesota. Killebrew's at second and Battey's at first. The pitch. He pulls a curveball to left field. It's foul into the stands. 0-2. Battey didn't waste any time. Killebrew didn't waste any time. They picked on the first delivery. Sandy ahead on the count. Pitching to Bob Allison. Here it is. Into the dirt. Or mud, actually it is today. Stopped by Roseborough, knocked out in front of the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Totals read now, Minnesota 2 runs and 6 hits. Los Angeles no runs, 3 hits. And don't think it wouldn't be a feather in the cap. The Minnesotans could knock off one of the great left-handers, Koufax. Well, that's what they're trying to do, but of course this game is a long, long way from being over. Set to go from the stretch. Here it is. Breaking ball, strike 3 call, and Allison is out, taking. That will be the 9th strikeout for lefty Koufax. And Don Mincher moves up. Mincher struck out and got a single to left. This is the first inning where either team's able to break through and score. The pitch, bouncing ball down to deep first base. Parker hurries, grabs, throws to Koufax in time, and that is all for Mincher. So the final out is made. 2 runs for Minnesota, 3 hits. There was 1 error and 2 left on base. And at the end of 6 innings of play from Minneapolis, score Minnesota 2, Los Angeles nothing. Fans, here's a major league item that you may or may not be aware of. Walt Austin has had the longest managerial career in the majors. This is his 12th year with the Dodgers. Now, that's a record. And here's a record Gillette Foamy holds. It's the country's leading shaving cream. More men from coast to coast buy Foamy, lather up with Foamy, and enjoy the really clean shaves Foamy can give them. Because only Foamy contains K34 hexachlorophene, the antiseptic that actually cleanses your skin while you shave. And Foamy keeps your beard wet better. It supersaturates every whisker. For shaves big on comfort, really clean, get the shaving cream more men use. Gillette Foamy, the one with K34 antiseptic. You can't miss with Foamy. We're up in the great Midwest, where baseball reigns supreme. Up in this area, they fought for a long time to get Major League Baseball, and they have it today. They also have a professional football team, the Vikings, who use this field. And they're great Golden Gophers of Minnesota, a team that they've been so proud of in this Minnesota state for so many years. And now their baseball interest is just at a high pitch. And here their Minnesota Twins are leading. Here's Fairley now to lead off against Jim Cott. Strike one called, a fastball at the letters. Fairley was out in the second, and then got a single. Actually, the first hit off Cott, a ground ball just to the right side of first baseman Mincher. He pops one foul, drifting back, and it's going to go out of play. Strike two. All the other managers in Big League Baseball are here. For the most part, the owners, the presidents of the two league, of course, the commissioner, and most of the scouts in various organizations are here. Here we go. Outside, a crossbar pitch for a ball. 2-0 score. Second game of the World Series, and Minnesota leading. Al Worthington is now tuning up in the bullpen, along with left-hander Jim Merritt. Pitch to Fairley. Takes high inside a ball to even it out. 2-2. They're even selling straw hats out here, but I guess they're good enough to keep the raindrops away. It's been cloudy. It seems to me the rain has stopped at the moment. Ball to left, blooped, might be in there. Allison can't get it. It's in there for a base hit. And Fairley is on an opposite field single. Well, that's the third hit in the series for Fairley. He got the Dodgers in the lead yesterday with a home run, but it was short-lived. And here comes Jim Lefebvre. This young man has got quite a future ahead of him. He's only 22 years old. He seems to have a little more power as a left-handed batter. But he's been a sweet ball player for the Dodgers. There's a line drive, and that's a hit to left field. Fairley goes to second, and the Dodgers now have the tying runs on. 2 on with nobody out. It was a fine catch by Allison that took extra bases away from Jimmy back in that fifth. Time is going to be called now. Here comes Sam Mealy out. Well, Joe, you've seen this club operate all year, and they have generated a lot of speed here and steam in a couple of days that we've seen them, and it looks like they're going to be tough to handle, these Twins.
You're absolutely right about that, By, to the extent that Versalles never hesitated on the ball he hit, and neither did Oliva, and they'll force the play and make you throw them out. They won't just be satisfied with one base. Sam Mealy's going to let his left-hander, Jim Cott, in to pitch to Wes Parker. Out in the bullpen, he's got Worthington, a right-hander, Merritt, a left-hander, and for the Dodgers, Paranowski is throwing. It's a 2-0 ball game. Top of the seventh, nobody out, base runners at first and second, By.
And here we go. Here's a bunt. It's a little high pop in front of the plate, and it's going to do the job as far as moving those runners. Battey finally made the pickup. It stayed fair, so the bunt was in order, and the Dodgers have advanced those 2 runners. Fairley goes to third. Lefebvre has hopped down to second base. 1 out. And Roseboro is coming to bat. There had been some talk with the speed and the daringness of the Dodger ball club that Mealy might start that left-hander Merritt in one game, but at the moment it doesn't appear that way. I believe that Mealy is counting on Pasquale for the third game at L.A. Roseboro gets a strike. Dunny flied to left and popped to Killebrew right near the box seats. 2-0. Minnesota leading. The Dodgers with a threat here in the top half of the 7th inning. First base is open. 1 out. The delivery. Foul. Outside pitch, and it's slapped away. Strike 2. Count has a very wicked sidearm delivery. Real fierce competitor.
I'm looking in the Dodger dugout, and Don Drysdale is at the bat rack. Koufax is the scheduled next hitter.
All right, here's a little bounder that's going to go foul. Stopped down there by the coach, Danny Ozark. Foul. That's right. Drysdale is not only a fine pitcher, he's, on average, the top hitter the Dodgers have had, and he is standing up and taking a few practice swings, although Sandy is standing or out in the on-deck circle. Now, of course, if Roseboro can get this game evened up, Koufax possibly would bat. Here's a low pitch for a ball. Minnesotans thought they had a strikeout there. 1-2. Fairly started it off with a hit. Lefebvre followed, and then Parker put the bunt down. He checks his swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Johnny started in for that, and then held up. 2-2. Scott ready. Draws the left arm around and lets go. And there's a line drive to right field. Olivo's up, can't get it, drops in. 1 run will score. The other runner is going to hold up. And on the throw to the plate, there goes Johnny Roseboro to second base. Oliva charged the ball, and it appeared he might get to it. But it drops in front of him. For a moment, I had visions of 2 men coming in. However, Lefebvre stopped at third base. But as the throw was directed toward home plate, Roseboro took off and makes it into second base. So it's 2-1 now. The Dodgers have scored. Fairley has crossed the plate. Roseboro gets a run batted in. And we're checking now to see. And it appears that Koufax is going to be lifted. That's right. Drysdale, the losing pitcher only yesterday, is coming out to bat for Koufax.
That was a good piece of base running by John Roseboro. Once he saw the ball head towards the plate, not only does he go into scoring position as the tie-breaking run, but he eliminates the possibility of the ground ball double play. The infield have to come in and choke off the run at the plate. A fine piece of base running by Roseboro.
Also, it's forcing Minnesota now to move its infield up. First base is open, and right-handed hitting Drysdale is up. And he cuts and misses. Strike 1. Now, yesterday, Don only got up 1 time, and he grounded out against Jim Grant. Olivo's throw, after failing to get to that line drive, he made a bit of a high throw to the plate and late. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. 0-2. And count is ahead. So the Dodgers are right back in this thing. 2-1. And the Dodgers will be going to the bullpen. I see Peronowski is still warming up out there. The pitch. Swing. He struck him out on 3 pitches. Drysdale goes down swinging. That is the second strikeout for Cott. And that'll put it up to Maury Wills. A little speed merchant, captain of the L.A. Ball Club. He has 1 hit in 3 official trips to the plate. Killebrew, I notice, at third base, plays him about even with the bags. Same is true over at first for Mincher. Here we go. High outside, a ball. Game is in the top of the 7th. By some, Joe Garagiola from Metropolitan Stadium. The delivery. Pops a fly ball back at second base. Coming in is Nossick. He makes the call, and Joe wraps it up for the final out. So, 1 run for the Dodgers, 3 hits in that inning, 2 left. And the score as we move into the last half of the 7th inning, 2-1, Minnesota.
Hey, start the day with Sun Up. Put on a happy face. Splash on a dash of Sun Up. Put on a happy face. Just splash Sun Up all over your face. You put on a happy face.
Yes, Gillette's Sun Up aftershave gives your face a happy feeling. Sun Up is one up on all the others. Splash on a dash. There's refreshment. Smells better, feels better. Doesn't sting. Manlier, and women think so too. So get yourself a bottle. Right after your morning shave or any time of day, for that top of the morning feeling, just open, splash, and man, that's Sun Up.
Just splash Sun Up all over your face. You put on a happy face.
Sun Up aftershave from Gillette, the people who know men best.
We've got a new pitcher coming along for the Dodgers. It looks like lefty Peronowski. And before he gets in and gets ready to go, we'll pause 30 seconds for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY Schenectady. A little music to mix by from Saratoga Vichy, the one that fizzes and fizzes and fizzes and fizzes.
Are you mixing with the best? Saratoga Vichy with the yellow label. It outsells all the rest. The genuine Vichy with the yellow label. Tastes better tonight. Feel better tomorrow. Saratoga with the yellow label.
And fizzes, Saratoga Vichy never leaves you flat.
Come on to pitch for the Dodgers. A tremendous piece of pitching by Jim Cott in the 7th inning as he got the pinch hitter Don Drysdale. I tell you, the way you measure pitchers, many baseball people, is what happens when there's a man on third and less than 2 outs. And Jim Cott was in that situation, struck out Drysdale and got the very tough Maury Wills on a fly ball into center field. So the scoreboard right now, it's the Minnesota Twins, 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Dodgers, 1 run, 6 hits, and 2 errors. It'll be Peronowski against Quilici. And now here's Byron Saum.
Peronowski, I understand, was asking for a chance to do some pitching yesterday. They put him in the game. He's considered to be one of the top relievers. And he was a little wild. He made 2 walks yesterday and worked 2 shutout innings. But here he is behind Koufax. Sandy pitched 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 2 runs. And here is lefty Peronowski's delivery, low for the ball. Quilici has gone up twice. He walked and he popped out to Lefebvre at second base. Here it is. Bouncing foul down to Billy Martin at third base. He gets a hand. 1-1. We look for Billy Martin to be a manager in the major leagues one of these days. He's got all the great assets. Real aggressive young man, and been quite an asset to Sam Mealy up here, as well as the rest of the coaching staff of Minnesota. They give a lot of credit to Johnny Sane, the old tobacco-chewing right-hander, giving us a little line on his pitchers today. Here's one low and outside. 2-1. They've announced the attendance today at 48,700. 48,700 right on the nose. Here's the mounting ball sharply hit the Wills. He digs it out and the hole, throws in time. And that is all for Quilici. Short to first. 1 down. And the pitcher, Jim Cott. Jim ought to feel pretty happy about his performance up to now. He's leading 2-1. He struck out twice against Koufax. Ronnie delivers, and the pitch is low for a ball. Peronowski's got a very puzzling move. Funny thing, sometimes left-handers hit him a little better than right-handers. He delivered, and it's low. Ball 2. On the scoreboard, for those that are just tuning us in from the Twin Cities in Minnesota, the Dodgers 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors. Minnesota 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Tight-fisted ball game. Koufax is out of the game, lifted for a pinch hitter. Cott is still in. Strict call. 2-1. The rest of the Dodger ball club aligned as they were at the start, except for Peronowski. Foul. Strike 2. Tomorrow will be a traveling day. Most of the correspondents and baseball people are going out of here. A lot of them on chartered flights tonight, heading for Los Angeles. And the next game in the World Series will be on at 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time on Saturday afternoon. Game 3, and right now it appears that right-hander, the great curveballer Pasquale, will go against lefty Claude Osteen. 2-2 pitch. swing and a miss, and that's all for Jim Cutt. A strikeout. Koufax recorded 9 strikeouts in his 6 innings. And the aggressive shortstop, Versalles. Zoilo flied to right. He struck out, and he started that 6th inning by clubbing a ball deep to third that Gilliam couldn't handle. It was ruled an error. And from there, the Minnesotans went on to score 2. They're leading 2-1. The initial pitch, low inside, ball 1. Naturally, in Minnesota, there are a lot of gimmicks, and the ball players are getting bonuses here and there. There are a lot of programs, pre and post. Strike called, and I understand Versalles got $400 yesterday for his home run alone. He gets $100 for each child. He has 4 daughters. So that was a big item for him, that home run yesterday. There's a line drive to right field, and that's going to be a hit. Fairley has to go way back. Here's Zoilo digging for 2. He might go for 3. There he goes. And he's going to beat the throw. It's a triple into right. He really took off, and he was flying as Fairley had to go way back at the 330 sign to dig that ball out of a puddle of mud down there in right field. But it is a stinging triple to right field. So Versalles comes up with his 3rd hit of the series. And don't fool yourself. As we pointed out yesterday, he led the league in doubles. I think he was 2nd in triples. But anyway, he had 19 home runs. And here is a ringing triple to give Minnesota, with 2 out, a scoring potential here in the 7th inning. A runner at 3rd and coming to bat, right-handed hitting Joe Nozick. Well, they break another record today. 48,700. Most of these tickets sell, too, at $8 and $12 a throw. Here's the pitch to Nozick. Takes low, a ball. You never know how a World Series is going to turn, but certainly Minnesota has had the upper hand now. They knocked Drysdale out, and they have disposed of Koufax today. Here's a long lead. The pitch is into the dirt. Ball skips by Roseboro. Versalles comes home. He scores. Now Minnesota has taken advantage of a low throw. The ball skidded and bounced away from the plate about 12 feet. And as Roseboro went for it, the ever-alert Versalles took off for home. Roseboro didn't believe he had a chance in the world to pick it up and make the play himself, so he gave it a little backhanded flip and hoped Peronowski would be there. But it didn't negotiate in time, and Versalles comes trotting across with another run. It's 3-1 now. Still pitching to Nozick, and this one is outside of all 3. And I haven't seen a scoreboard reading on it, but I assume it goes go down as a wild pitch. 3-1, the Twins.
It looked like Peronowski took his eye off the plate for just a minute as Versalles forced his hand. That daring base running, it's been going on all season long with this guy.
And the strike call. Make it 3-1. That's right. He came halfway down the line and pulled up. And we've seen Wills do that times. And certainly in this series, we have 2 of the most daring shortstops in the business. Here's a little chop ball to third. Gilliam in, up. Makes a low throw that gets by. Gilliam threw it into the ground, and there goes a runner, Nozick, to second base. An overthrow, and looks like another error coming up on Gilliam as Nozick made it on into second base. So it's in the 7th, 2 out, and a lot of fireworks here unfolding for Minnesota. Another error on Gilliam. They've runner at second base. And Tony Oliva is up there. All of this coming about with 2 down. A triple. A wild heave. And now an arrow on a low throw to first baseman Wes Parker. The pitch. Pops a fly ball, Oliva, to left. It is playable. Lou Johnson is waiting, and Lou picks it off for the out. But the Minnesotans got another run. They do it with 1 hit. There's an arrow and 1 left. And as we complete 7 around, the score in Minnesota's Metropolitan Stadium, 3-1, the Twins. Who's been using my right guard? Many a man has been asking that question lately. Today, the whole family is using Gillette Right Guard Power Spray Deodorant because nothing touches you but the spray itself. It's always your own personal deodorant. Just 2 seconds gives you 24-hour protection. Right Guard is not one of those gummy roll-ons, not a messy cream. It's a pleasant, refreshing mist, dries on contact. Right Guard, the perfect personal family deodorant because nothing touches you but the spray itself. Seems like families everywhere are switching to Right Guard because today it's America's #1 deodorant. If you haven't tried it yet, find out for yourself why more people, more families use Right Guard.
Well, once again, it was proven that there's no substitute for speed. Versalles stretched that into a triple, forced the hand by a good bluff like he was going to steal home, got a wild pitch, and picked up a big run. Just no substitute for speed, and these Twins are forcing the hand. By?
And we're ready to go with the Dodgers at bat in the 8th. Gilliam takes the strike. And I'll say truthfully, Joe, I don't believe there are many clubs in the National League that have forced this kind of play on the Dodgers during the year. They usually were forcing it on you. Here's a strike to Cobb, Junior. He is 0 for 3 as a batter. Flied to center, flied out to right, and grounded out to third base. Cobb is pitching a very strong game. There's a pop foul upstairs. He has only given 6 hits to the Dodgers.
When you start forcing hands like that, it actually begins in the clubhouse because they'll start talking about, now, don't take anything for granted. This fellow will take the extra base, and it'll get the infielders and outfielders edgy.
Next pitch is low and outside. A ball. Gilliam, the leadoff batter, and it's getting late for the Dodgers. Of course, this club really had a scrap on its hand. They had to stave off the San Francisco Giants. For a while, it was Cincinnati, and they didn't clinch the pennant until Saturday, the next to last day of the 65 pennant race. Ball 2 is served up, 2-2. Lefty Cott is only 25 years old. There's a fly ball left center. Looks like it's high enough to be playable by Nossick, and the center fielder grabs it off for the out. 1 down. 8th inning. On the scoreboard, 1 run for the Dodgers. They have 6 hits. They've committed 3 errors. Minnesota has 3 runs, 7 hits, and they're playing errorless ball. Willie Davis will be coming up. Sam Mealy keeps lefty Merritt and right-hander Worthington tuned up in the bullpen. Here it comes. Willie Davis takes it high inside, a ball. Davis is 0 for 3 today. Picked up 1 for 4 yesterday, a single to left. The pitch hammers a ball back to Mincher. Don is up, needs help. There's a pitcher covering, and they've worked that play 3 times on Willie Davis today. First baseman to the pitcher covering. That's a play they always work on in spring training, and they're really getting work out on that one on Willie Davis. 2 out. Lou Johnson. No hits for Lou. Struck out, hit a long shot to center, which was caught, and popped to first. Strike called on him. Here she comes. Bouncing ball hit out near second base. Here comes the second baseman. Quilici makes it to first for the final out. No runs, no hits, nobody left on. We head into the last half of the 8th inning. And the score, Minnesota Twins 3, Los Angeles Dodgers 1.
Heads up, handsome. Heads up, handsome. Heads up, handsome. Heads up.
Man, when you hear that call, head straight for Heads Up, Gillette's new kind of hair grooming. Combs right in so you can't tell it's there.
Heads up, look alive. Be a heads-up kind of guy with you. Heads up, my Gillette.
Heads Up, Gillette's great new hair grooming discovery for men. In 2 different forms, Heads Up Liquid, Heads Up Tube. Not greasy, not drying, never messy. Clean, modern Heads Up rinses right off your hands. Combs right in so you can't tell it's there. Remember, men, for a handsome head of hair that stays that way all day.
Heads up, handsome. Heads up, look your best.
Keep your hair looking its handsomest with new Heads Up, my Gillette.
Heads Up Liquid, Heads Up Tube. New from Gillette, the people who know men best.
Joe Garagiola with Barham Sam in Metropolitan Stadium, where these Minnesota Twins have really taken the lead here, and I mean taken it by just forcing the other fellow's hand. Versalles, again, the man of the hour here. He banged a big home run yesterday, but the play that we'll be talking about is his scoring of the 3rd run here. It's a big run because it took the bunt away from the Dodgers. It takes away the hit and run. It's the insurance run. And he hit a triple and then bluffed a real good start towards the plate. Paranowski may have taken his eye off the plate for just a split second. Bounce went up to Roseboro, got away from John, and Versalles scored. Right now it's 3-1, bottom of the 8th, and Killebrew's up there. Real fine ball game. Bye.
Ready to go with Paranowski. Pitching in relief of Koufax. And Killebrew lets it go outside a ball. Killebrew has 2 singles to left. And the one time they got him out, he skied out to Luke Johnson in left. He's the big power boy of this Minnesota ball club. Low. He didn't get up to 40 homers this year, but you must remember he was out with an injured elbow. The pitch. Swing and a foul. 2-1. Nothing seems to bother Paranowski. He's got a real easy motion out there, sort of a slingshot delivery. At one time, you know, he belonged to the Chicago Cubs. Minnesota leading by 2. Yesterday, they won 8-2. And the pitch. Breaking ball. It stays outside. 3-1. Killebrew, Battey, Allison. All right-handers and all long ball hitters. At the plate in this 8th. The pitch. It is high. Ball 4. He walked it. A base runner. Catcher Battey coming along. Earl, several years ago, was with the Chicago White Sox. He was more of an understudy to Sherm Lawler at that time. I know there was a key switch when the trade was made. Actually, he was with the the White Sox, rather, the year that they got in a pennant, but he did not participate in that 1959 World Series. All right, inside a ball. He has 1 hit today. Single to left. Olivo and Killebrew drove in 2 runs. Wild pitch, let the other one get through. Moved to first, too late. Score again is 3-1, the Twins. Late in the game, here's a bunt attempt, and it's fouled over to the on-deck circle. 1-1. Looks like Austin has more action up there in the bullpen. He's got Miller, I believe, right-hander. And Osteen is loosening up out there. He is slated to pitch on Saturday. Well, the Minnesotans are really a gay crowd, and now they're trying to encourage Killebrew to steal, I guess. Here's a bunt, and it's caught. Roseboro just stepped back a stride, and that little twisting pop wasn't very high, and Roseboro has it. 1 out. Bob Allison, he will long be known as a hero up here for a great running catch that he made on Lefebvre. He didn't have any luck at all hitting against Koufax. He went out 3 times on strikes. Bob Allison. Lefty Peronowski comes over, a strike. Well, yesterday the Twins got some fine pitching from Mudcat Grant. Today they've come up with some fine left-handed pitching from Jim Cott. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Totals read the Dodgers 1 run, 6 hits and 3 errors. The Twins 3 runs, 7 hits and no errors. It was a 0-0 ball game up until the 6th inning when Minnesota started the scoring. Here's a chop foul that goes toward the home dugout, but then bounces high and goes into the crowd. Even though it's been a wet day here in Minnesota, it's been a gay crowd, and it seems like the concessionaires are doing another fine business today. This game is now in the 8th inning. Minnesota batting. Killebrew's at first, 1 out. To the plate, outside, a ball. 1-2. Well, the scene will shift. The next 3 games will go to Southern California. Of course, Minnesota has a slight advantage because they played 9 of their games during the past campaign out there against the Angels. There's a long, high foul that's going to left. Allison has hit 2 of them down in that same section today. 1-2. The Dodgers have one more shot at Jim Cott. Fairley, Lefebvre, and Parker are to be the batters in the 9th inning. Meantime, Peronowski's got a job to do here. The stretch, he delivers. There's a line drive, a base hit to right center. That ball might go for a couple. There goes Killebrew. He'll make it to third. There goes Allison. A stand-up double into right center field as Willie Davis picked up the ball. So the Twins have another threat going. Runners at second and third, 1 out. Don Mincher being announced. He has 1 hit, 1 for 3, a single to left. LA moves that inner defense up. The Twins now with a total of 8 hits. That's the second off Peronowski. And a strike call. Both hits off Peronowski have been extra base balls, however. Versalles got the triple into the right field corner. And this double by Allison. Here it is. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Killebrew's at third. Allison at second. As Mincher digs in, he's behind in the count here, 0-2. And the pitch. There's a bouncing ball to Wills. He looks, he's throwing to the plate. The runner is caught. Roseboro goes after Killebrew, and he's got him. A tag out. Roseboro falls down after tagging the huge Killebrew. It wasn't anything that Killebrew threw at him, a body block or anything, but he just stumbled. So Wills cut off that high chop ball and caught Killebrew going to the plate. The play again is Wills to Roseboro. It was a tag play. Allison held at second base, and Mincher, on a fielder's choice, will be at first base. 2 men are gone now. Infield backs away, and coming to bat is second baseman Frank Quilici. Stella hasn't been flustered at all. He just seems to play a good, steady brand of ball. And he was really awed for the fact that he created a record yesterday. He didn't even know anything about it till somebody told him. Right-hander batter. Left-hander delivers. Pitch outside, low, ball one. And Wills is trotting in to the mound.
They've got a spot for him by if they want to make him chase the bad ball. With Cott, the pitcher, coming up next, they have the percentage of the left-hander against the left-hander. The spot, of course, being third base. It would be one of those cases where don't let him hit a good ball, make him hit your pitch. Alston, as he motioned from the bench, was indicating to Peranowski, just make him hit your ball. Hey, there's a balk. That's a balk. He started to wind up and stopped, and they move up.
Right, Joe. And the umps have picked it up, just as you did. Peranowski, and all of this shuffling around, looking at Austin and talking to Wills, sort of forgot exactly where he was, and now they're going to create the situation that they could have created in the first place. So they're going to walk him now. After the balk was called, which moved Allison over to third and Mincher down to second base, they're going to put him on and load him up.
Maybe he feels better with first base open rather than third by. A lot of pitchers feel that way for some reason. Any way you do it, the bases are still loaded. Now he wants to talk to Gilliam and to Roseboro. Peranowski's just kind of walking around. It'll be a battle between Peranowski and Cott. And Gilliam, who started out as a coach, will have to kind of act as a babysitter here to calm his pitcher down, because it's been a situation of going in a revolving door and just walking around, not getting out.
We don't even know now whether they created the situation with an intentional balk or not. But they've got the bases loaded. Cott is the batter. He has gone down swinging 3 different times. Ronnie delivers. All right, pitch is outside. Of course, one thing you try to do is keep the other team from getting that runner to third, because there are a lot of easy ways to get home from third where you couldn't make it from second. It's 3-1 here in the last of the 8th inning. Minnesota's been forcing the issue all during the latter part of this ball game. Here's a long lead to try to upset Peranowski. A ground ball, base hit to center field. Cott singles, 1 run in. Here comes another man home. Throw to the plate is not in time. 2-run score. Jim Cott, some coach along the line, Joe, said when I mentioned his hitting, a hitting pitcher of renown. Anyway, he certainly falls into that category now. He gets himself a single, and that might knock Peranowski right out of the ball game. The Twins now have hiked their lead up to 5-1, and this has got to be the biggest hit that Jim Cott has ever picked up in his life.
I'm sure it is. He's the type hitter in the batter's box that manager Sam Mealy has been able to hit and run with. He tried it earlier in the 3rd inning with Cott hitting, and he missed the ball, and Quilici was out on a throw from Roseboro to Wills. But he gets a piece of the ball, and he battles you. That's the big thing. He helps himself on a mound in the batter's box, and right now he's got himself a 5-1 lead. And while the pitching change is being made, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY Schenectady. This is the sound of Saratoga Vichy. It fizzes and fizzes and fizzes all through your drink. Never leaves you flat. But Saratoga Vichy has more than lively action. It has a dry, satisfying taste that compares with, well, nothing else, really. That's because nature gives Saratoga Vichy a delicate balance of ingredients that man-made mixers just can't duplicate. Try the authentic Vichy, Saratoga Vichy, with the yellow label. It's a natural.
Bottom half of the 8th inning as the Twins lead by the score of 5-1. Base runners at first and second. Quilici is on at second base. Jim Cott is on at first base, although right now he's in the dugout taking a breather and probably kidding around figuring up his batting average. He's 1 for 4, and he knows he's hitting .250 right now, but that scoreboard tells him that he's leading by 4, 5-1. It's been a Minnesota take-charge outfit in both these ball games. The key plays have been running plays. Versalles got a big run to third. The 3rd run, that came in the 7th inning when he hit a triple and really looked like he was going to steal home and got a wild pitch out of it. But here with Cott up there, he picks up 2 big extra runs, cushion runs, and it's a 5-1 score. It'll be Austin pitching for the Dodgers and Pasquale for the Minnesota Twins as the scene shifts in Los Angeles. And I'm sure there are many people throughout the country who certainly didn't figure this to be the situation. The Twins taking the first game, knocking out Drysdale, and the second game, knocking out Koufax. But that's what's happened, and I guess that's the story of any World Series. Stranger things than that have happened by.
That is true. Here's a young man from out of St. Louis, Missouri, stepping into pitch now. His name is Bob Miller. This will be his first World Series game, to my knowledge. He's a tough customer. He throws hard. And he's saved many a ball game for the Dodgers in the years that he's been there. He was with the Mets for a while. So Versalles will be leading off. They've got 2 runners aboard, 2 out. They've cashed in with 2 more runs. And just to think, as far back as the 5th inning, this still was a scoreless pitching duel between Jim Cott and Sandy Koufax. But the Twins have broken that 0-0 tie wide open here. Late in the game, Versalles already has been on twice, and each time on, he has scored. He got on through an error. He got on with a triple. So Bob Miller takes over. Piranowski worked 1 2/3 innings, allowed 3 hits and 3 runs. And Koufax pitched 6 innings and was touched for 2 runs and 6 hits and had 9 strikeouts. 5-1 the Twins. Game 2 in the World Series. They won the opener yesterday, 8-2. And it will be a mighty struggle for the Dodgers should they go down in this game, although they will be returning home. The stretch in the pitch. Low breaking ball outside. 1-0. You often wonder, too, a man of this caliber, Versalles, leading off, and with as many extra base hits as he picks up and total bases that he grabs. There's the ball to center field. Davis got a late start. Will he make it? He did. He caught it on a shoestring grab. Coming full speed. He lost his cap, but he makes a fine catch in center field for the closeout out of this inning. So for Minnesota, they pick up 2 more runs. In that inning, there were a couple of hits. 2 men are left on. And the score heading into the ninth, 5-1. Minnesota over the Dodgers.
A razor being stropped. This sound went out with a straight razor. Whoever heard of stropping razor blades? Oddly enough, the early stainless steel blades did have to be stropped. Stropped on your face as you shaved. You see, most stainless blades have a kind of coat along the cutting edge. With the early blades, this coating was wildly uneven. As you shaved, you evened it out. You might say you were stropping the blade on your face. This stropping stopped with the Gillette stainless steel blade. Gillette had developed an exclusive process for coating the blade edge evenly. No valleys, no peaks, no mistakes to correct on your face. The finest stainless steel blade in the world from Gillette.
Well, it'll be Jim Cott to try to get the 3 toughest outs in baseball when you've got that lead in the 9th inning, and it'll be Ron Fairley to lead it off for the Dodgers, and once again, here is Baron Sam.
Ready to go with Fairley leading off. He has 2 hits. The left-hander Cut comes in low for the ball. Single to left and a single to right for Fairley. Now the pitch. Over. Strike call. 1-1. The Dodgers haven't really mounted any kind of a rally in the 2 games here in Minnesota. They scored twice yesterday, but one of those came in the ninth. And they've scored 1 time today. Strike 2 call. Cott's a big fella, very strong looking. And he doesn't seem like anything worries him. He hasn't recorded too many strikeouts, and he hasn't walked but 1 man. Swing. He got this fella fairly swinging. A strikeout, his 3rd of the game. Sidearm curveball sends Fairley talking to himself back to the dugout. Jim Lefebvre, another switch hitter. He's hit the ball about as well as any Dodger today. Allison made a spectacular grab to take extra bases away from him in the 5th. And he got a hit the last time up. Ball 1 is low. 5-1, Minnesota leads. Second game of the 65 World Series. Inside a ball. 2-0. Now a breaking ball for a strike. One out on the 2-1 pitch coming in, and there's a base hit to left field. Jimmy Lefebvre sends that ball to left. Wes Parker coming to bat. Here's a story on Wes Parker. He walked, he got a base hit, and he sacrificed in the 7th inning, moving 2 runners along with a bunt. Inside, ball 1. It hit him. He backed away. I thought it was just inside, but Tony Vinson said he's hit with a pitch. So there goes Parker to first. And there goes Lefebvre to second. And Johnny Roseboro will be coming to bat. In a way, it's fortunate, I guess, that the World Series will be moving away from here. I understand there's more rain in the weather picture for tomorrow, but tomorrow is a traveling day and an off day. Score again, Minnesota leading 5-1, and they put all 5 runs on the scoreboard in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings. 2-on for the Dodgers as they try to come back here in the 9th. Roseboro fouls one away, strike 1. He flied out to left, fouled to third, and singled to right field. His single drove in LA's only run. Steps out, cut, working a little too fast for him. Here we go, the pitch. There's a bouncing ball down to first base. Up with it is Mincher. He makes the play. The other 2 runners have advanced. Unassisted play, 2 men are gone. Runners at second and third, and let's see who is going to bat. Bob Miller is listed, but Austin is going to make a switch here. And we'll just have to wait and see who it might be. It could be the catcher, Jeff Torberg. And Trzaskowski, I notice, is running in from the bullpen. Dick Trzaskowski is an infielder, a utility ball player. Or it could be Trzaskowski. This game is in the 9th inning, so there will be a delay. Wally Moon, I think, was out in the bullpen, too. Trzaskowski, however, is a right-handed batter. Moon is a left-handed batter.
Looks like it's going to be Trzaskowski, who came in out of the bullpen. Walter Allison talking to him right now. He needs base runners, so he needs a fellow who will keep him striking out, get a piece of the ball, maybe draw the base on balls. Of course, the Minnesota Twins lead by 4. They want to get the hitter. The 2 base runners don't mean a thing.
So Bob Miller, the pitcher, is being pulled out. Trzaskowski's not a power hitter by any means. He just punches the ball wherever the pitch comes, and he's been a spot ball player. He really crouches and gets over the plate. Here's the first offering. A strike called on him. 2 gone. First base is open. Things really looking up as far as Minnesota's concerned here, and I would guess that majority of these fans are Minnesotans. The pitch. It's a swing. He came around and strike 2. Jim Cott pitching a very strong game. Infield is back. Ahead of Trzaskowski, and Trixie, as they call him, steps out. 2 gone. Southpaw, Jim Cott delivers. Outside. Boy, that was close. 1-2. Minnesota has the lead, 5-1. They took that lead in the 6th inning. It was 2-0, then it was 2-1, but they added 1 in the 7th and 2 more in the 8th. Runner at third base, Lefebvre, Parker's at second, and there's a ball hit right at the pitcher. He's got it. Jimmy Cott didn't even know he had it. Line drive. He grabs in the heel of the glove. The game is over. So, no runs, 1 hit, 2 left. The final score, Minnesota wins it, 5-1. In a moment, we will review the highlights of the game for you. Say, if you couldn't get out to the 1965 World Series game, you can still get your youngster a National League or American League souvenir. A Gillette official autographed baseball with the names of 10 National League stars or 10 American League stars. And while you're at it, you'll save money on a Gillette adjustable razor with dispenser of stainless steel blades. It's the 1965 Gillette World Series special. Here's how it works. You pay only $1 for the famous Gillette adjustable razor with settings for every type of beard plus blades. Now, the set usually costs $1.50. You'll also get a special coupon. Just mail in the coupon plus $1, and we'll send along the baseball. Don't miss out. Get your youngster an official autographed baseball and save on the Gillette adjustable razor plus blades. Offer limited. Well, the ball game is over, and Minnesota definitely in the driver's seat. They have taken game 2. They've had 2 finely pitched ball games. Jim Cott did it today. Yesterday was Mudcat Grant. And for the highlights and totals and wrap-up of this ball game, we're going to switch right back to Joe Gargiola.
Okay, Byron, Tom. Well, a record crowd here at Metropolitan Stadium. Some 48,700 people saw the Minnesota Twins do something that I'm sure very few ball players outside of the players themselves thought they could do. They knocked out Drysdale yesterday and Koufax today and really took charge of this World Series. It was in the 6th inning that it really started for the Minnesota Twins, and Versalles right in the middle of it. He slashed one off Jim Gilliam's shins. It was ruled an error for Gilliam. Then a sacrifice. Noliva got his first base hit, a double. Then Killebrew with the base hit made it a 2-0 ball game. Dodgers came back to score their run in the 7th inning, but once again Versalles in the 7th, a triple and a wild pitch, and really forced a hand, picked up a big run. 2 more in the 8th inning, made it a 5-1 ball game. 5 runs, 9 hits, and no errors for the Minnesota Twins. It was 1 run, 7 hits, and 3 errors for the Dodgers. The winning pitcher, Jim Cott, and he ended the game by coming up with a line drive, hit off the bat of pinch hitter Dick Trzaskowski. Cott the winner, Koufax the loser. We might point out that one of the big tip-offs of the scrambling of this Dodger ball club was that in the 7th inning, when they had a chance to get right back in this ball game, they went to Don Drysdale as a pinch hitter. Drysdale's a fine hitting pitcher, but nonetheless still a pitcher, but Alston felt that that was the biggest hitter. Well, it moves now to Los Angeles. It's a travel date, and then Saturday it'll be Austin for the Dodgers and Camilo Pascual for the Minnesota Twins. Our producer was Len Dillon. Our engineer was Dan Hozak. And this broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Commissioner of Baseball solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. In any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. So tune in Saturday at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the 3rd game of this 1965 World Series, when your host, as today, again will be Gillette, the people who know men best, and Chrysler Corporation, famous for quality engineering. Today's host, Dodge and your local Dodge dealer. Once again, the final score, Minnesota 5, Dodgers 1, and this has been an NBC Radio Network production.
This is the NBC Radio Network.